I think I'm going to watch this movie. What? What's so funny?
What was the thought process that made you want to watch this movie? Because I've never heard you say those words. You always end up watching a movie.
I Googled it to see what the budget was. I pulled up the Wikipedia.
Oh my God.
I saw the budget. I saw that the score was by Hans Zimmer. And I saw the trailer or the poster again, and it looks cool. And I think I want to watch this movie.
So you were sold by Hans Zimmer.
Who are you and what have you done with Marques Brownlee?
The whole reason that statement was really funny was
Everybody started laughing. I was going to watch that F1 movie. What is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marques.
And I'm David.
And I'm Ellis.
What?
Yeah. So, Ellis, first of all, welcome to the side of the board. Good to have you. Video watchers have now already figured out that means Andrew's not here. Yeah. Adam is holding it down over there, which means we'll have some surrogate Andrew opinions, but I will bring them to you when I
could try to be
them.
Andrew.
Well, I know he gave me some things that he wanted to be on the pod, so
I don't think I can name all the planets.
Yeah.
So Andrew's here in spirit. But don't worry, we still have some Apple rumors, some Tesla talk, robotaxi stuff, and also a whole bunch of nothing.
That's right.
To talk about.
A lot of nothing.
But not the kind of nothing you think that the real nothing, the something nothing. The nothing that is a thing.
The thing, yes.
It is a couple of
you
things.
You can make calls on it.
It's one of them.
Arguably.
Both of them.
But yeah,
them,
kind of.
Yeah.
Technically.
By proxy. It's going to be a good time. But first, pour one out for another Google product. It's a bit of a running theme where every time Google retires a product, we recognize it on the podcast, sometimes involuntarily, but this time, Google Keep on the Apple Watch. It is no more.
Why would they do this to me?
What?
To me
you.
specifically.
Did you use Google Keep on the Apple Watch?
So what, man? Look, okay, every time they kill a thing that Google Keep is related to, it's one more step out the door for Google Keep.
This is true.
And they keep integrating Google Keep into Google Tasks and then that into Calendar. But I have to say, when Google Keep got kicked off the Apple Watch, guess what got added to the Apple Watch?
What is that?
Google Calendar. They just added it. They just added a Google Calendar Apple Watch app. Why would they do this? I have no idea. Why would they kill Keep and add Calendar?
So maybe the person who's in charge of Google stuff on the Apple Watch, woke up and was like, wait a minute, I should probably add Google Calendar, but also Keep.
My conspiracy theory, which is not going to come true unless I will it into existence, which I hope I don't, is that they're going to kill Keep, but then integrate Keep's features into Calendar.
What?
In a calendar?
In a calendar?
Yeah.
Why not
be into tasks?
I was going to say
but
drive.
Tasks is part of Calendar now too.
Yeah.
Which is also part of
tasks
Gmail.
is things you do. Calendar is
things you
is
have
like
to
your places you are and things you do.
Yeah.
But then Keep is things you need to remember.
Quick notes.
Quick notes basically.
Is that what Keep is for?
Yeah, it's like the Apple Notes app. It's notes.
Yeah, it's notes.
So
Short
much
notes.
less powerful, and I
Then-
yell all the time on the internet about it.
Then why is it when you put an image in a Google Doc, it does not back it up on Google Drive anywhere. It automatically uploads it to Google Keep.
And it's very annoying.
Wait, what?
Yes, when you drop an image. So if you drop an image into a Google Doc and you think, oh, this is great, my document has an image now.
Yeah,
and
the
then
producer will easily be able to download this image.
And then the producer goes, that's weird. I can't right-click and download this image from a Google Doc. Oh, but I can view it in its Google Keep location. And then you go to Google Keep, and guess what Google Keep also does not have?
A backup?
A download button.
Weird.
It is so infuriating.
then you have to right-click and open in a new tab, and then you can download it.
For that reason, thank you, other producer. For that reason, I literally cannot wait to piss on Google Keep's grave. I swear. I am so excited for this service to get discontinued.
They just need to make it better.
We're not friends
It's a
anymore.
good service.
It's not.
There's no download option, but there is a save to keep option.
Yeah, and then that opens up in your sidebar in Google Calendar,
keep is
and then you
so
can
weird.
open it
Yeah.
up in a new tab.
The only thing that I use Keep for is when you save. That's actually literally one thing. When you ask Google Home to add something to the shopping list / grocery list,
does it in Google
it makes
Keep?
a new item in a Google Keep item
And
that
not
is a
Google
grocery
Tasks.
list, not Google Tasks.
See, this is my thing. There's a lot of overlap here.
Yeah.
And I think that
Going
Google
grocery shopping
Keep-
is a task. It could easily be a task in Google
well,
Tasks.
going grocery shopping, but what about the things you need to shop for?
Those should be items underneath the task.
Which is what I do in Google Keep with the checkboxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're going to multiple shops and you want to have like a header that breaks up the checklist, like, oh, at Costco, I got to get this. At my local grocery store, I got to get this. At the farmer's market, I got to get this. You cannot do that in Google Keep. They're all checkboxes. You can't just like break it in the middle.
You got to make multiple keep notes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Very annoying.
Okay, but I still think that Google Keep is more useful on the Apple Watch than Google Calendar is. Google Calendar is like a giant calendar.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I see where you're coming from.
It's a lot. It's big. It's like you can't look at your whole month on your little wrist thing.
You can see what's coming up next, though.
It's probably a weekly view.
Yeah, but Google Keep, you got little check boxes, and you can be bing, 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 bing. When you're going grocery shopping, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
You were
saying.
checking them off on the watch?
I could. I don't use an Apple Watch, so
okay.
if I did,
Oh my
maybe
gosh.
I would.
You're pretty mad
my
about this for someone who
gosh.
doesn't use an Apple Watch.
because every time they kill something related to Keep, it's one step closer to the whole
Gotcha.
product dying.
Well,
It's just another warning that someone remembered it exists.
Yeah.
They'll replace it with something else that's bad. It'll be fine.
It's good.
okay, bud.
Google Keep has so much potential.
Yeah.
It's
This
just
is
being
true.
held back by arbitrary, weird decisions.
Yeah.
Pretty classic.
Welcome to Google. Yeah.
Speaking of large brands, remember like a week or two ago, this might have been 2 weeks ago, that I asked the question, how did they make an F1 movie with a whole bunch of real company names all plastered over the cars and the helmets and the jerseys and stuff?
Yeah.
And we got the answer, which is Apple. They produced this movie. They sold sponsorships of these actual companies who paid to be in the movie and have their logos on the car, on the helmet, on the suits.
This is so smart.
So they made millions of dollars of just branding
Yeah.
to have realistic jerseys and helmets and cars, but also to help pay for the movie.
Just
This
like
is
real
very
F1.
smart.
It's smart.
I think it was the first like Avengers movie or something, but they just had like a long shot of a billboard that just said Coca-Cola. And they had like a truck that was driving by and it was like following it the whole time. It was just like Coca-Cola. I think this makes more sense because you would see these brands in the real world on these cars anyway. So it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense to just like, let's swap them to have people pay us.
Isn't this a thing normally just in movies regularly?
Yeah.
Like you can pay for product placement. You know,
Product
like,
placement.
oh, this Pepsi
Exactly.
can over here, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
How much more do you think they charge to be on this versus just like a passing car? To
I
be,
have
like,
an
on
answer
the
for you.
helmet?
I have an answer for you. The article says they made $40 million from all of the brand placements that are specifically involved with the F1 teams in the movie.
And the movie costs about 200 to 300 million. So they literally made back like,
yeah, good amount.
yeah, like a good amount.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is the first surrogate Andrew opinion interjection where he wanted you all to know about the Wayne's World product placement scene. Have you heard of this?
No.
I've never seen Wayne's World.
It's a
I've seen
movie
it
with
a long time ago.
it's like a minute straight of obvious product placements
as
that
a joke, right? Yeah.
as a joke, but also probably
But they got
could have
paid.
also paid for the movie.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you
good
know
stuff.
the inverse of this from a movie? I'm trying to remember if it's in a movie called Repo Man or a movie called Repo Men. I think it's Repo
think
Man.
it's Repo Man.
I think it's Repo Man.
I think
So. I think you're
David
right.
Lynch, right?
Yeah. Right. Now you're making. Okay, it is David Lynch, right? I don't know what's real anymore.
I only
Who
said
directed
that because I
Repo?
saw it on
There's a
your
movie called
screen.
Repo Man that is from at some point in the 20th century. That's a long time ago. But they did not want to go through the hassle of doing product placement deals, and so every product in the movie is plain white packaging with black all caps text that just says whatever product it is. So if a character cracks a beer, it is a white can that in black bold text just says beer.
Is that not how Severance is shot as well?
Severance is a slightly different flavor where the art department had to make every object from scratch.
Yeah.
So that there are no like time dating objects.
Yeah.
Exactly. But there are no brand labels, period, in that movie.
Except for Lumen.
This is like except for Lumen. But this is a little bit more like
Wow, spoiler alert.
goofy. Like, for example, there's a scene where a character goes into his fridge and pulls out what looks like a can of beans and just starts like eating it straight from the
Just has
can.
beans on it.
It just says food.
Is that like tongue in cheek on purpose?
Yeah. Totally.
Okay.
Got it.
It's a goofy movie. It's not the
It's-
goofy movie.
I was gonna say.
Is it an
Is
extremely
it the
goofy?
goofy
No,
movie
it's just
too?
a regular goofy movie.
Yeah.
Is it?
You know what's funny? This is a video. I don't know how long ago I saw this video, but about how YouTube videos have to disclose product placement,
Yes.
especially when you're paid for anything.
Yeah.
Movies don't,
Correct.
Yeah.
which is why we had to find out via an article that Expensify, Geico, Tommy Hilfiger, all these companies were in. How is that still true? Or why is that such a big difference? It's two totally different governing bodies. It's one's the internet, one's movies.
I think about that all the time. And
that's Gemini.
As much as I'm a butthurt content creator on the internet who's like, me, why do I have to go through all these hoops? I do understand that no one is watching this movie. No one's watching Brad Pitt in this movie. I really hope it's actually Brad Pitt.
It is Brad Pitt.
I get him and Matt Damon mixed up all
It's Brad
the time.
Pitt.
Yeah,
You
that's
got
fair.
it.
No one's watching Brad Pitt in this movie and thinking like, wow, Brad Pitt is a real race car driver who really, really likes Expensify, right? Whereas like when people watch us, you know, I'm not saying that we're super duper passionate about every ad read we've ever done, but it is us telling you
directly
to buy something.
True.
And it, so you shouldn't be able to see me go and like, damn, Ellis really loves Skittles. Like every video he's putting them back, man. When in actuality, like, I actually don't like Skittles that much in real life. But anyway, this is going way off.
No, that's a valid point. I just feel like I could blur that line a good amount. Like if there was a movie, if there was a superhero that everybody loved in a movie that's obviously not real, but it's a superhero, and the superhero always drives a certain type of car. Like maybe say, like let's just make up a name, James Bond or something like that. And he always drives. He always drives the same type of car.
Always wears the same.
And
kind
I
of
just
watch.
feel like that would be, while it isn't a personal endorsement, it still has the same just level of like inspiring people to purchase the product.
Do you want to hear Gemini's
but that's
answer?
like a partnership more so, isn't it?
Sure, but you know, it's just in that example of like they don't have to disclose that that's paid for. If a company paid to be the product that the superhero likes in the movie, they don't have to disclose that.
It's, even though I don't think Aston actually pays for that, I think it's like so baked into the brand.
Oh, I just made that one up. I made up a company
made up James
and
Bond.
a movie. But go on, go on.
It's a random name.
Yeah, I just made like Bond. That's
My buddy
not real.
James.
Yeah.
My Bond.
Anyway,
my buddy.
But no one. Oh, wow, that was so funny. I totally lost my train of thought.
Do you want to hear Gemini's answer for why this is the case? Okay, so apparently people are supposed to have an understanding that things in movies are fictional.
And
so when
and paid for.
And paid for.
Yeah.
So it's saying like that when a character in a movie is like using a product, it's like that character is not that person. So you are not being like, oh, I trust this person. Whereas the reason on YouTube is that because it is a real person saying a real thing and it's not assumed to be like a fictional character.
But what if I had like a comedy skit?
Yeah, I mean, it gets dicey.
And also, how come Apple's allowed to sue if the bad guy uses an iPhone, if it's implicitly fictional?
I don't know if they can actually do that. However, I do have a thing I wanted to mention about that specifically because my friend Caleb he's a VFX supervisor on movies, so he like goes and he like helps them frame the shots so it's easier to do the supervision stuff.
Nice.
And he says that specifically they do worry about Apple getting mad at them, so they always make sure to like they have to like perfectly mask the UI and like make sure that it's a little different.
The logos, especially.
Yeah. Whereas with Android phones, they don't worry about it at all. And I asked why. I was like, is that a legal thing? And he's like, I don't think so, but we just are more careful with it because Apple's more scary.
It has to be a legal thing. Like, what else could they be scared of? You're a movie producer. You have no relationship with Apple. You show Apple in a movie and Apple gets mad at you. That just is code for a lawsuit, I think.
I don't know. I think Apple is such a big company that's involved in so many different industries. That Apple in China book, a lot of that book is companies doing things just because they're scared. Like no reason other than like Apple could bankrupt us and literally not think twice about it. And so even if we're not like legally exposed, like there's no point in trying to go.
This is what he exactly said. He said, the iPhone has to behave like an iPhone would in reality, so no skins of any different brand or anything. Everything has to be exactly accurate. And I said, is that something that Apple mandates somehow? And he said, yes. I've had to do so many shows that we had to recreate graphics for iPhones to the T. And I said, how do they even have the right to force that? And he said, well, it mostly has to do with legal departments for many different companies covering their bases. I've never had to stick to stock Android for any phone because they just don't care.
Sounds right.
It sounds like Apple cares and no one else cares. That sounds like what it is. I bet you Google could sue if they wanted to, but they're just like, why?
You misrepresented the Pixel. Meanwhile, they're just like, they use the Pixel. They use the Pixel.
There it is.
That's funny. Yeah, that's probably all fair.
Yeah.
Well, now we know how the brands got into the F1 movie.
Crazy.
I mentioned before the show, I think I'm going to see this movie.
Yeah.
I'll probably
Crazy.
watch it on a plane or something.
Now everyone knows what Expensify is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they? I didn't watch the movie, so I don't know. If
I don't know what they do.
Adam and I used
But I heard of it.
Expensify at Android Authority. We used it.
Oh,
What does it do?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be
Careful, you might endorse it.
I know that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
I think there's like 1,000 different apps that do this now, so they're probably not that special. But it was pretty innovative at the time.
It was like business expenses and stuff.
Basically, you take a photo of a receipt from like a business expense, and it would automatically like parse it.
There's an article here that says Expensify capitalizes on F1 movie sponsorship to boost user growth and expand international product features.
Is that written at Expensify?
No, it's a Tribune article. It's a real article. I'll put it in the Slack. It's really happening.
Also related to F1 before we get off the topic.
Whoa, David with an F1 update?
Yeah.
No, sorry. Not related to F1, related to the movie.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, like I would give. Anyway, so we talked about the vibration. I talked about this off the podcast too, but I just want to say this on the record so people can scream at me on the record. The vibrational trailer that everyone was super hyped about. Just go buy a Sony Xperia XE2.
Actually, it's XZ2, David.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was going to make the joke, but it's actually 6 years ago that phone came out.
I thought it was longer, to be honest.
Yeah, so the
It was
6 years ago
curved in a
jokes.
way where it slipped off of everything, and then when it would vibrate, it would just
Slide
vibrate off the
around.
table. Yeah.
The most obvious consideration for a
Yeah.
phone that vibrates.
It was not the greatest shape.
I mean,
That's
Xperia
funny.
phones, that sounds about right.
And we were talking about this before, I just think it's funny because at the time when that came out, it has this giant vibration motor that can, I guess, like parse the waveform of any audio source, and then it sort of vibrates to that. And everyone was like, all right, including me. And then this comes out and everyone's like, wow, a vibrating trailer.
Yeah, there was just certain.
Come on.
So there's a couple phones that did that. I think. I don't know if HTC Boom Sound did this, but there's like an LG phone that would also like have the phone vibrate to whatever the bass frequency was. And so
Yeah.
if your song had like a bass line, your phone would.
Yeah.
It was a thing.
We used to live in
An
God's
age of
country where every phone that would come out would have some really bad gimmick, and I loved that.
I mean, to be fair, this Apple trailer was also still a gimmick.
Yeah, it was.
yeah,
So
yeah,
But iPhone users, it's been a while since I've seen a gimmick like that.
that's
so
true.
They were really into
That's a
it.
good point.
Hey.
yeah.
Image Playground ain't that old.
Touche. Fair enough.
Is it really a gimmick if not a single person has ever used it?
Isn't that what makes it a gimmick?
I haven't even tested. Well, maybe I've tested it. I've opened it, I guess.
Yeah.
It mainly shows up in YouTube videos, and then once in a while, people use it as a joke. I think
Yeah.
Image Play, yeah.
All right.
Definitely.
Well, speaking of cars,
Speaking of jokes.
that was a good.
Jokes.
damn Ellis.
What?
No, that was a good segue.
Come at me.
Speaking of cars, that was good.
Thank you.
Tesla did, in fact, deliver the first car from the factory fully autonomously. I
go.
will eat my words. I don't remember exactly what I said on the last podcast, but I think some of us agreed that they would not do that on time, but they did.
They did a day early.
fully. Yeah, they did it actually before they said they would. My main two things. One is like, okay, this is cool. They had like a route. They had a customer that was somewhat near to the factory, so they just had the thing drive through the plant, out the door, and just to the customer's house.
Yeah.
That's impressive, objectively speaking.
Yeah.
But two,
And he wasn't living at the factory.
right, he, some distance from the factory.
Yeah.
But two is, while that is a really impressive tech demo, because we see these all the time, do we actually want that? Like, I thought that when buying a car, you'd maybe at least want to like inspect it first, and if it's got any blemishes, maybe something scratched it or something, you would want to not get it delivered. Isn't this a big thing with Teslas?
Yeah.
Do you want it to just
That's a good
show
point.
up at your door one day and it's like, there's your car?
I also
Good
wonder
luck.
what the legal stuff what that becomes, because generally you don't have to take ownership of your car until you say, okay,
I
there's no
accept.
problem.
Yeah, you sign some
I accept.
paperwork.
But what are the legal implications if it drives itself to you and then it gets like scuffed up by like
Yeah.
rocks that hit it on the road?
Yeah,
Like,
you
does
probably
Tesla-
signed I think you probably, in this case, as a total guess, you probably sign all the paperwork before it leaves the factory. and then you agree to the conditions of this delivery, which are if anything happens between the factory and your house.
Yeah, how do they prove if
Then-
it happened between the factory and
I mean,
your
I'm sure
house?
there's someone like, when you rent a car, you walk around, you take pictures of it all around.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone there like doing a quality assurance check, and then be
Yeah,
like, yep, this one's
probably.
good. Send it out the door.
Yeah, I'm not saying
then
it's
it
like,
drives over.
oh no, this is horrible, but there are some interesting questions to
Yeah.
be had when
Yeah.
you have this new paradigm. Yeah.
It's also, this is every like thing that happens in the self-driving world. There's always a question of scalability, which is why people freak out about geofencing. It's like it has to be everywhere, like this sensor versus that sensor. This is to me just a tech demo because this only scales to people who live near factories, which is
Theoretically.
Well,
unless they're going to charge themselves, which they don't yet.
Or have enough range to drive like 200 miles.
So if you live within 200 miles of one of the Tesla factories,
Right.
then this is cool.
Right.
But obviously, that's not a ton of people.
I mean, it was definitely more of a tech demo.
I mean, you don't
Yeah.
think they could like send it to a Tesla delivery area, like a Tesla?
ship it there and then have
ship
drive
it there,
to you.
and then the last mile, let it do its thing, drive it to you.
Yeah,
'Cause
but
I
they
feel
could
like
do that already.
That last mile is the hardest part. So like
Yeah.
if you just ship it to like where the delivery showroom is, and then have it drive away from there.
Yeah.
Then you
That is true, but I think they could do that already. I think the big deal about this was no one ever sat in the car or drove the car. It was
Oh,
just
I see.
autonomously through from the end of the assembly line to the person's house.
Yeah.
Which again is like super impressive, and it went well and no incidents, and that's great. But like, it's more about the scalability, I think.
For sure.
Also, what happens if your car gets pulled over on the way to you and you get your new car with tickets on it?
I mean,
Like off
they
rip.
I don't
probably
think the
gotta-
cop is going to know what to do if no one's in the car. And he
That
pulls
would
it
be
over.
Unless it starts
hilarious.
happening way more, starts making illegal lefts, and they're
Yeah,
like
has Waymo ever been like
ticketed.
ticketed
know.
while it's
I'm sure they
driving?
got like parking tickets or like parking violations.
It's gotta
but
happen by
I wonder if you've gotten like a driving violation.
Like rolling through a stop
Yeah,
sign,
yeah.
and the cops like chasing it through the streets.
That was
Cop
a
walks
yield.
up to the car and he goes, "Can I see your license and registration, please?" And it's like, "Bing, bing, bing."
the window rolls down, nobody's in the car.
I have no context, but I am currently on Reddit watching a police body cam of a Waymo driver. So
driving on the wrong side of the road. So he walks up to the car and talks. Oh, because there's a person on the phone in the car.
So it notices when it gets pulled
this is
over.
not we can't determine anything real. I have no context for this video.
Yeah.
But that is pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
That would be a good way to handle it though. Like if it notices it's getting pulled over, just like call a Tesla employee and have them
Yeah.
talking over.
Well,
the
it seems like
speakerphone.
that's what Waymo does.
Yeah, that's smart.
So,
So
yeah.
funny.
Okay. Google would think of that.
Life hacks.
It reminds me of like a super old video where Tesla had that self-parking feature, and then they had like a skit video that they put on their YouTube channel. Have you seen this? Where like a cop attempts to give it a parking ticket, and so it just pulls out and goes to another parking space. And then they try to give it another ticket, and it just pulls out and goes to another parking space. It was kind of a joke, but it was
so
also like,
funny.
these cars park themselves. Imagine if they just kept reparking themselves.
Yeah.
It was funny at the time, okay? I thought it was
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
at the zoo.
It would have been more funny if the CEO of that company wasn't doing that in real life with more serious laws. Maybe. I don't
There
know.
are laws. I'm sitting in Andrew's seat.
I don't think I could name all the laws.
Every time we talk about cars, people yell at us. But you know what they don't yell at us about?
Oh, baby.
Never, not
What's
once.
Never. Yeah, never.
Trivia, baby.
No one has
yet.
ever gotten mad about
Yeah.
a waveform trivia segment. Guys, from the big table right here. Don't look at my computer because
Wait,
you might
you're-
see the answer.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
wrote Adam could ask the first trivia question, but I wrote it. So
Yeah,
I
it's
would
his
know
question. Let him have it.
Okay.
let me have this,
wild.
guys.
No,
Yesterday was
I'm-
my birthday.
Yesterday?
Happy birthday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
it's okay.
You didn't wish him happy birthday?
No.
Unbelievable.
David, in your defense, when I texted you last night, I texted you at 12:30 a.m. So it was after my birthday.
Yeah, I was in London. It was 5:30 a.m. for me.
Anyway, guys,
Reasonable doubt.
this first question is an F1 sponsorship question.
Ooh.
Like it's
Yes,
sponsored
yes,
by F1?
and it's not any of the basic ones. Yeah, exactly. I am as an internet content creator. I am it's not going to be any of the basic ones. It's not Mission Winnow. It's no barcode. It's none of the
I don't know what any of those words.
none of the goofy ones. This is a real deep cut, guys.
Okay.
Which of the following chart-topping musical acts had their logo on an F1 car during a Grand Prix race? A. Smash Mouth. B. BTS. C. ABBA. Or D. Coldplay.
It's between two to me.
Which two?
Wow.
Or maybe don't say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which two? No, I'm gonna.
Marques to know.
I have a hunch, but I don't know exactly. But answers will be at the end,
What's
like
that
usual.
band that Steve Jobs was obsessed with and like forced everyone to listen
U2.
to?
U2.
U2.
Oh,
Must be
U2's cool, man.
U2 and Coldplay are like the same.
I was
band.
afraid we were gonna
That
get
is-
an all of
wait,
the above.
Wait. Say it again.
I just said it
What did you just say?
to
You said U2 and Coldplay are like the same
in
band.
my brain.
U2,
Yes, they're the same band.
One of the most famous, like,
Coldplay is also famous.
I know, but
David, I'm with you.
U2 is famous.
Same band in my head.
Thank you.
Guys, I just want to illustrate how
It's
ridiculous
3v1.
this is. U2 is like one of the most famous rock and roll bands of all time.
Rock and roll.
Coldplay is a band specifically famous for not having a guitar player in it.
I knew neither of those
There's
facts.
no guitar player in Coldplay.
This is how ridiculous.
When I
what
think
you
of
guys
U2,
are
I just
saying
think of
is.
That's what it sounds like.
I
to
just
me.
googled each of the bands. They both have old people in them.
same band.
So
they're both British too, right? Aren't they
Oh,
both British?
I lied. There totally is a guitar player. I still.
And on that note,
Answers will be
Oh
at
my
the
god!
end.
And he lists U2 as one of his biggest influences. Maybe I have. They are very different bands. They are very different bands. No, the YouTube comments will support me on this. Very different bands.
man.
we're gonna leave this one up to the comments for sure. We'll be right back. Support for this show comes from Salesforce. You might remember a time not long ago when AI wasn't all that helpful, but today Agentforce, the powerful AI from Salesforce, can analyze, decide, and execute tasks autonomously, operating at speeds and scales that no human workforce could match. These AI agents represent a new world of digital labor that not only handles monotonous, low-value work, but also orchestrates and carries out high-value, multi-step tasks. This isn't just another step forward, it's an enormous leap, redefining how work gets done and what's possible for businesses and their employees. Agentforce is adaptable, autonomous, and proactive, and of course, totally integrated into Salesforce, so they're truly part of the team. That way, you and your employees can focus on the tasks that actually move your work forward towards unseen opportunities and new growth. Agentforce, what AI was meant to be. Learn more at salesforce.com/agentforce. Support for the show comes from Shopify. Starting a successful podcast isn't the easiest thing in the world. Some days it really seemed like we were swimming upstream, but the main thing is to just keep putting in the work in order to get where you want to go. And if you're running a small business, then you probably face a lot of the same challenges that we faced. So if you're looking for a partner to help your business grow, Shopify is your answer. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names like Mattel and Gymshark to brands just getting started. You can get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store that matches your brand's eye and style. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. All in all, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. Simply put, Shopify is a small choice that can have a monumental impact on your business. So turn your big business idea into reality with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/waveform. Go to shopify.com/waveform. That's shopify.com/waveform.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Waveform Podcast. We're your hosts. It's the middle of the podcast now, not the beginning. We're going to talk a lot about nothing later, but we're going to talk about something now. And that something is the fact that there is a new report that Apple is reportedly looking to ship a 13-inch MacBook with an iPhone chip either later this year or early next year.
Return of the MacBook, baby.
Yeah, return of
Okay,
the MacBook.
this is interesting.
It's big news. I'm curious because it's 13 inches, which is the same size as the MacBook Air. So my question becomes, does this become a lower tiered MacBook Air that's like $800 instead of $1,000, which would sell like crazy? Yeah. Or is this what I wanted was a new 12-inch MacBook?
This could be,
fire.
you're saying like below the Air.
Well,
Like
yeah.
even thinner and lighter than the Air.
Oh, I don't care if it's thinner and lighter. I just wanted like a smaller screen.
Oh, smaller screen?
Yeah.
Maybe just like smaller footprint, I guess?
Footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was interesting to me. I mean, obviously we know the A chips in the iPhones and the M chips in Apple Silicon Macs are related.
M chips are basically scaled up A chips.
Essentially, yeah. So when but they're so scaled up. Like the difference between an M1 and an A18 is pretty vast. It would be it would essentially be
like a Chromebook.
Like the level of power in an iPhone.
Which is a lot.
Computer.
Which is a lot.
It is a lot for a phone. But I don't know. I guess I'm picturing the things people would want to do on like a 12-inch MacBook, which is web browsing and like lightweight apps and things. Yeah, that's why it's kind of a Chromebook.
Yeah. I have not read, and correct me if I'm wrong, in any of these rumor leaks that this is going to be running Mac OS. I feel like everyone just saw a MacBook and assumed Mac OS.
I think that's implied, though. If MacBooks,
it's totally implied.
Yeah.
However, early days, got a Love Island reference in there. I don't know, man. I could see this being more of a Chromebook. I could see this running.
You think they're gonna have a whole new OS?
Well, to be honest, I could just see them doing a weirdly modified version of iPadOS.
That's what I was going to say.
For a MacBook?
Well, okay. If you're going to go there, because iPadOS is
I went there.
Specifically touch first. So this would have to be a MacBook that is touch first.
Don't let your facts get in the way of a good story.
Seems off limits to me, I would say.
There is not much. Okay. Here we go. Ready?
I'm ready.
The MacBook, this is going to sound crazy. The MacBook has been touch first for a very long time. And I mean that not to say that there is a touchscreen in the MacBook, but Mac OS is so optimized for a trackpad. There are so many different ways to interact with this computer with 1 to 4 fingers. And you know from the way Apple's design team operates, like they really do think about a physical connection between your body and the computer when it comes to designing Mac OS. Ergo, a lot of that has ended up in iPadOS since you can use a trackpad with it. Right? Pinch to zoom, 4-finger swipe. Now you got this new window system.
And a free-floating mouse.
So I thought you could get between full screen apps with a 4-finger swipe on iPadOS.
That's actually a swipe from the bottom bar.
On iPadOS?
Yeah.
Okay. See, but
the thing about
there are
iPadOS,
similarities. There are things that they've brought over.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to make iPadOS just as functional.
I mean,
if you lock it in a trackpad.
The MacBook requires more precision mousing. And that's why the iPad, especially with the new pointer on the iPad, it sort of enlarges the elements a little bit. The previous version where it was a fake circle mouse, it would just like snap to it.
But David, keyword, it's not the MacBook that needs precision. It's macOS.
Yeah.
I would be doubtful.
But it's also 13 inches.
But why?
But it's the same as the Air.
So I know, but why would Apple ever kneecap a full macOS product by giving it an A18 Pro, which would struggle with so many tasks?
It wouldn't really struggle.
I know.
Yeah, I think we're looking at two directly, like diametrically opposed philosophies, which is one, the A chips in the iPhone are meant to run iOS, and a MacBook by name is meant to run macOS. So we that's why it's weird to see A chip in MacBook. And so we're trying to figure out, are they going to make this more of a Mac or more of an iPhone/iPad?
It's a Mac.
Because of the internals. Now, if it's a Mac, if it's a 12-inch Mac or a 13-inch Mac or whatever, it has to run Mac OS.
Yeah.
And it has to not have a touchscreen. Yeah. So is the point of running the A18 chip to be extremely power efficient, and we can already make 1 billion of these chips for no money, and this is going to be like the ultra lightweight, netbook of 2025? Is that what we're picturing?
I think it's just like they need an even lower end computer to sell to compete with even lower end computers.
Because Chromebooks.
At this point, like the cheapest MacBook Air, the $999 MacBook Air that we have, is a pretty competent computer at this point. And so if you're Apple and you're like, what we could do? We could offer a $600 computer laptop.
I mean, that would be crazy.
Which would be awesome for like getting people into Mac OS and like being an entry point for the whole thing. Then I could see, in my world, I would go, okay, put an M1 chip in there. You can make 1,000 of those for no money. But going all the way to the A chip feels like they're building, the price ladders where they're like, here, you could buy the super cheap, ultra lightweight machine, but it's barely able to do what you want it to do, so you might as well get a MacBook Air. That's what it feels like.
I mean,
how would they communicate
maybe.
that to people though? How would they communicate? Obviously they could communicate like this is a bottom tier MacBook, but for the average person who would see M4, M5, whatever we're on when this comes out, and then would also see A18 Pro, would they know that that's the chip from the iPhone?
Yeah, that would have to be Apple messaging that this computer is extremely thin and light.
It's called iMessage, actually.
They would have to show the world and demo to people that this is the thinnest and lightest machine available. I mean, obviously, there's going to be no fans. This is an A18 chip runs on a tiny phone this big, so the whole PCB only has to be that big plus some batteries.
I mean,
this can be so.
This
thin.
is something.
That's
you
actually a good
think about
point.
battery consumption.
Yeah, this thing could be.
This
all
thing could
battery.
last for so long.
But that's not the Apple way. The Apple way is give it all day battery life and give it the thinnest amount of battery you possibly can. This could be the thinnest laptop ever, guys.
That's true. It could be a thinner.
This will not be the computer to run Chrome on.
No, it won't.
I don't know. I think it's just money. So I think it's like it could be $700 or $800, and then probably $800. And then they could have some benefits. They could say it has better battery life. It's a little less powerful, so you're not going to be doing like heavy stuff. But if you're just like
a lot less powerful.
writing notes, you need something that you want to like throw around with you, bring around with you. You don't want an iPad. I don't know. Apple is trying to make every price tier possible with like every product possible, and they already have that with the iPad. They have the cheap iPads, they have the mid tier, and they have the expensive ones. With the MacBook, they have the really expensive ones, and they have the like really good value ones. Like the MacBook Air is insanely good value for what it is, but they don't have the like, oh, I have very little money to spend on my new computer. I'm a broke college student, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like the cheapest desktop Mac, the Mac Mini, is a good deal. It was like $599 to start, I think, for students, maybe $5 or $699.
Yeah.
If they had a laptop at that price too,
Right,
then that
exactly.
would be a nice entry point for a laptop.
Yeah, as a student, I would never want a desktop.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting idea.
And they probably have a ton of A18 Bionic chips left over.
But don't they have a
Pro,
ton of M1
A18.
chips too? That's
Yeah, probably. But again, I don't know.
like they make M1 iPads
Yeah,
already.
maybe they don't have as many M1 chips left over because they're putting them in the iPads.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think this is
Also-
so they can sell 900 of them to schools.
That's a great
That's
point.
a great point because
All at once.
Chromebooks also.
Yeah.
If they make them cheap enough, they could probably convince schools to go MacBook over Chromebook. That's a very big market for Google. So,
True.
And as long as you get kids indoctrinated into your
Chromebooks
platform
are
at a
really
low age-
cheap though.
They are.
Chromebooks that
Yeah, like
schools are
200
buying are like
$200.
like
Yeah.
$200-300, not $600.
Yeah, for sure. For
So,
sure. I mean, they might give them some sort of subsidy. Because to them, like, it's user acquisition, right? Like, it's a user acquisition cost of a 4-year-old.
They seem really into that because they've got teenagers locked up in America. They might as well start going.
Use
like
Apple
preteens,
now.
like, hey, iMessage for
Yeah.
the 6-year-olds.
You've already got your Apple Watch.
They're really into that.
Yeah, so.
I just want to lay a future Ellis prediction for that'll come and bite me later. But I do not think if this computer ships, it is going to ship with a full unmodified Mac OS. I don't know if it'll be like iPad OS for Macs. If they call it that, I'm going to laugh.
That would be insane.
But I just really don't.
Yeah, I do think it would be very confusing if they do.
Yeah.
I think they will.
Because
You
then,
think-
like, are you going to download Final Cut Pro on this thing?
No, if
Like, it
they
would-
did, you'd get a bunch of pop-up windows that were like, sorry, this application can
Yeah.
only be opened on, and people are going to freak out because no one who would consider buying this computer overlaps with the people who know what the A18 Pro is.
Unless it can
You know?
only open Safari.
Counterpoint.
Yeah.
Counterpoint. The 18 Pro is probably faster than, like,
Most
the i7
other- yeah.
MacBook from a number of years ago.
Do you think so?
M1 would be. I just don't know about the A18. It's so small.
Yeah, I don't know about A18. I have the specs up right here. It does run at 4 gigahertz, which is not nothing.
It's those chips are supposed to run in phones at such a low power draw that maybe if
that's also a
they're
good
like
point.
supposed to run with way more power, they can actually do these
I
pro
mean,
things. But
imagine a laptop that lasts, like, a week.
I love the idea.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's on Apple's radar.
Lower power, it doesn't do as much, but it lasts a week. I mean, that would be amazing.
That sounds great to me.
Sounds good to me.
Can you? I don't know enough about chips. Can you benchmark an A18 Pro against an M1?
Yeah.
Or are they too fundamentally different to like actually benchmark?
You can
against
use
each
the
other?
same benchmarks.
Can you? They have such different memory.
Yeah,
they
like they
order
both
of-
use swap memory. I don't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't. I mean, we've never seen an A chip run Mac apps, so it's like they won't be the same application. Yeah. But I can run Geekbench on both and have it do like some similar things, and that gives you a sort of sense of what it's capable of. But like, the iPhone is not meant to do running these apps on the Mac, which is why it's very hard to say.
I want to know.
Moving on to nothing.
It always hits when we get to say that.
Yeah. It's really never gonna get old.
Yeah,
I'm really glad we have nothing to talk about today.
Yeah. So nothing has. Thank you. Nothing has unveiled 2 new things. We can talk about either one of them first. They unveiled
first.
The Nothing Headphone 1.
Headphone 1.
And the Nothing Phone 3. I've reviewed the Nothing Headphone 1, so if you're watching this and you haven't already seen the full review, go check that out. The video's on the main channel. We are showing you both of the versions here. I have the dark ones in my hand. I reviewed the light ones. People thought I was maybe compromised or hurt or or forced to do that, but I just think they look better on camera, so I use the light ones. But if I had to buy a pair, I think these black ones look pretty good. Question number 1, I guess we'll start with the headphones since we've got them here.
Yeah, headphone 1.
Let's go around the room.
Okay.
Ugly or not ugly? I think pretty decent looking headphones. When you get them in your hands, they're unique. When you put them on your head, especially the dark ones, I think they look pretty decent.
I think they look better in person than they do online.
Agreed.
I have some hot takes. I do think that the shape of the plastic piece on the sides should be the same curvature as the actual headphone like squircle thing. I think that would look better.
I agree.
Like the corner radius is just like weird.
It's just weird having 2 different shapes inset into each other. And then the other thing is that they used like plastic to cover it. I think if they'd been able to use like glass that didn't shatter in some way.
Glass?
Yeah, I don't know. The plastic, it just gets oily and gets fingerprints on it easily, and it looks a little bit cheap.
Yeah, David and I noticed this morning the black one
especially
gets very fingerprinty.
Yeah. And it kind of just takes away from the premium look of the aluminum on the headphones.
So, do you think they're ugly? Or?
No, I like the way they look. Just like Men's Warehouse.
Indecisive, Adam.
I'm so indecisive on these. I'm so torn because I feel like when I'm looking at them, I like the way they look. Yeah. And then I picture myself wearing them, and I'm like, I don't know. They're a little too out there for me.
Okay. Story time. I was in London yesterday, and I was wearing them at a cafe, and a woman came up to me, and the barista at the cafe, she came up to me, and she goes, "Excuse me, we keep talking about your headphones like behind the bar. Like, what are they? They look so cool."
That's what they want.
That's straight from an ad.
Literally.
You're living in another ad.
It literally happened.
That is why they are designed this way. And I don't know if I want that experience. I don't want to have to explain to people what my cool headphones are.
Well, which is probably why you get the black ones, right?
Yeah, that's
so
why I'm black.
I tested the light ones, and I got this question a lot, like, Marques, how did you test them on an airplane if you're not allowed to show them to people?
Oh, we had to.
I
figured it out.
Just had to do it. I just had to trust that nobody would do anything.
Do it.
I tested the light ones.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about flying with headphones is the headphones are supposed to be, at least in part, a statement of probably don't talk to me right now.
Yeah.
I'm wearing headphones.
Right.
And if your headphones are a conversation starter, it does the exact opposite.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind. Nobody came up to me, though, and asked, were you wearing the light ones when that happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody came up to me and asked me about the headphones.
I think the light ones are going to catch a lot more attention.
They definitely do catch more attention. But the other thing about them is, and we haven't even talked about how they sound yet, but I think they are built very well.
Yeah.
They feel great. They're comfortable. They're a little bit heavier than your all plastic headphones, your Bose's, your Sony's.
Yeah.
But maybe like 10 to 15%. And you do notice that on the ear cups because that's the metal that you're holding. But they're really well built,
they
solid.
They don't feel too heavy on the
headphones.
head. Like the band is light. I like the texture of like the soft touch everywhere is really nice. The padding like that touches that very top of the ear head is nice.
I just hate that they don't fold.
Yeah, so they don't annoying. Fold like down. They basically
rotate.
They rotate. The ear cups rotate. They do rotate the correct way, which I will give them credit for.
Yep.
Instead of rotating backwards like Sony used to. Now there is a bunch of buttons on them.
Bunch of buttons.
Physical controls.
Yeah, so they made a big deal about the fact that they sort of wanted to make them more intuitive to use than other headphones, which I thought was a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I didn't get to use these for more than like 5 minutes. So like as you guys actually used them, did you think they were actually intuitive? Or did you have to like remap your wirings in your brain?
A little.
Oh, I love the controls.
Yeah, so let's talk about the controls. There's this one wheel on one of the sides that looks like a little pill, and you can turn it up and down to have the volume go up and down. And there's this nice little click sound that kind of like,
it's great,
like a scrolling sound. That's cool. You can tap that in to do playback, to do play or pause, and then you can hold it for the assistant.
No, hold is ANC on or off.
ANC on or
for
off.
that,
Right? Sorry. Yeah.
and it makes us.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So weird.
It is what it is.
And
so
then they have this
weird.
paddle on the side.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the paddle?
The paddle, you can also reach and just quickly identify without being able to see it. It's a forward or backward track, or you can hold it down to fast forward or hold it back to rewind.
Yeah.
It works exactly as intended in Apple Music, and it works kind of in chunks in some other apps.
Yeah.
But still, very easy to go next track or previous track.
I think that the worst button on these headphones is that there is a Bluetooth pairing button that is very, very, very hidden.
I don't mind that one.
Next to the ear cup. And I understand that you probably use that less than any other button on the
Yes.
headphones, so it makes sense to not make it prominent.
Yeah.
But I was trying to connect these to the Nothing X app for like hours, and I was like, they're not. How do you put them in pairing mode? I do not understand. And in the box, when you take them out of the box just says, open the box and press the pairing button. But I couldn't find it anywhere.
Oh. It is
So,
subtle. It is, I think, very good that you can't accidentally press it. I think that's why it's designed like flush like that.
Yeah.
So, and then the last button is on the outside of the right ear cup is just a single button that you can remap with the Nothing X app to do whatever. So by default, that just does the assistant on your phone. You can also map that to the Essential Space, or or you can do a long press as well to do something else.
I kept forgetting this was a real button.
Yeah.
Wait, so it does go, you can map it to the Essential Space?
Yeah.
And then it would take a voice note?
Yes.
Yeah.
From the mic on the headphones.
You can
Okay,
basically
that's
talk to
interesting.
it a bunch, and then the Essential Space will like AI summarize what you talked to it about.
Can you like save notes and to-do lists and stuff like
Well,
that?
you can save notes to the Essential Space.
Yeah, there's a limited amount of things. You can't do like whatever you want with this button, but you can do several different things in the Essential Space.
And obviously that's
which is
only
cool.
if you're using it with a Nothing phone that has the Essential Space
Yeah.
feature.
Yeah.
But otherwise it like triggers the assistant and stuff, which is annoying.
Listen, I'm always here for more remappable buttons. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
They are co-designed by KEF.
Sound by
Sound design,
KEF, which it
Yeah.
says in text on the outside of the headphones.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I
Do you
have
hear
never actually used any other KEF products, but I did snipe that there is one other set of active noise canceling headphones on their website.
Yeah.
The rest is mostly speakers. A lot of you guys were telling me about KEF in the comments.
Yeah.
I bought the headphones.
You bought them.
I bought them. So I own the KEF MU7s,
Yeah.
and they're fine. Very
Yeah.
generic headphones. A lot of passive noise isolation plus ANC, which is also similar to these Nothing headphones.
That's their thing.
Yeah, that'll bring us into the sound of these. I think these sound like mixing headphones a little bit.
What does that mean?
It means that they're, well... Okay.
Yeah, tell Ellis.
yeah. Tell.
What do you consider the ones we are wearing right
just
now?
finish your thought.
The M50s?
Aren't they mixing headphones?
Not technically, no. But they're flat enough.
Okay.
They're good enough for us.
What I mean by that is that the sound signature is very flat. Like it doesn't feel like very heavy in any of the specific frequencies, like heavy in the bass, heavy in the treble, mids, whatever. There's
All about that bass.
There's an app where you can, there's an equalizer app in the Nothing
Dear God.
X app. And I've messed around with that, but it never really felt sort of like, I don't know. It felt pretty flat to me. And they sound fine, but I feel like they could sound better.
Like Beats
I
sound?
don't
Like,
know.
would you prefer that?
I haven't really listened. Do you mean
okay.
really bassy?
Yeah, like more bass,
No,
or-
I mean, annoyingly, I just really like the AirPods Pro. They just sound
Yeah.
really,
Oh,
really,
yeah,
really
that-
good.
That's cheating though.
Well, yeah, but and I understand that these are over-ear headphones, so they're
Yeah.
different. And I haven't really used AirPods Max extensively. But
I can compare them. So I've used
how do
a
you
bunch. Yeah, I've used Sony's for a while. I've used AirPods Max quite a bit. And like I said, I flew with these. These noise cancellation wise are like a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8. They have really good passive isolation, which I noticed. And then when you turn on ANC, they sound great. But with loud white noise like an airplane, it was still getting through. Where
That's
the Sonys,
what I noticed too.
The Sonys would just completely block that stuff out.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm putting up like a 7 or 8 out of 10 with ANC.
Yeah.
And then the sound quality itself, the way it's balanced, it's a little bassier for me. It's a little more fun sounding, a little more V-shaped to me. I thought it sounded totally fine.
Yeah.
And it was great for podcast music, whatever. I had no issues with it. I also played a tiny bit with the equalizer. You can jack up your sound with the equalizer.
Sure, yeah.
And I was kind of just playing a little bit with the frequency.
I mean, you just reviewed the Sony M6s.
XM6s are
they
incredible.
They're a lot better.
They are better. So here's the way I
quality-wise.
ended the video. The M6s are better in every dimension you'd buy headphones for. They sound better. They have better ANC. They're lighter, more comfortable. You can wear them for longer battery life, better case. Everything's better about them. But are they $150 better? Because nothing is only, I say only, they're charging $300 for these headphones,
Yeah.
which in the world of $300 headphones, this is about par. Like the metal is above average build quality, like the ANC is about right.
definitely.
Like these are solid $300 headphones.
Yeah.
The Sonys are $450
Yeah,
new.
they keep jacking the price of that.
So if you're going to compare those two, like yes, the Sonys are better, but I think you could argue the Nothing ones are a better deal.
Yeah.
Where it gets interesting is if you have an older pair of like the Mark IIIs or Mark IVs from Sony, then it's like you're playing in the same price range. Then it's just like, do you prefer the design here? Do you prefer the controls here?
Also, the Sonys go on sale for $100 like every single holiday.
Yeah. So I prefer the physical controls on the Nothing. I prefer the build quality of the Nothing. And I actually like the design of the Nothing headphones.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
like
I
the
like.
design.
How do I pair these?
The pairing button.
So you got to turn them on
See
first.
my freaking
Yeah,
point.
So on the right ear cup, there's a flip switch to turn on from.
we're on. We're
and then you hold down the Bluetooth button on the inside of the left ear cup.
I didn't even find that button.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. It took
inside
me
of
like
the right
an
ear
hour.
cup for like 3
Yeah,
seconds.
I would have never found that. No, I just realized because you guys have been having these for the past few weeks, I haven't actually heard them. So I'll let you know how mixing headphone
Do
grade.
you want to just connect them to my phone that they're already connected to?
All right, so we're getting a live
live demo.
Ellis headphone.
Let's do this, boys. If you
Sound
ever
test.
see me, I have no idea if I'm in ANC or not.
Wait, Ellis, these white ones look really dope.
Oh, you'll
on
know
you.
it'll breathe into your
They
ear.
look really
Dope.
dumb on you.
No, really dope.
They do look good.
Thanks.
I think they're really good looking.
If you ever see me using the built-in EQ on a pair of headphones, know that it's
That's
not
your
me.
cry for help.
No, it's literally not me. It's like some sort of secret agent that's impersonating me, and you need to kill him as soon as possible.
If these are not like mixing headphones, like what would these be considered?
These
Consumer headphones.
These are just consumer. I mean, these are going
ones
to
we're
try to
wearing,
compete
that we're
with
wearing.
Beats. These?
Yeah.
These are also consumer headphones, but in the genre of
Are they much flatter to like allow for more?
yeah, because mixing headphones
better
are
mixing.
like are soulless, like
Yeah.
blank EQ.
That's what I thought these were.
These aren't quite that flat. They're still flatter than average. It's a spectrum.
These
There's
have a little more
There's
bass.
Beats on one end, and there's the Sony MDR headphones on the other end, and,
Yeah.
and these are closer to that, but it's not like blank. I'd
Right.
say.
Okay.
Ellis has got a face.
He's thinking.
as he listens to these headphones.
Thinking face. He's impressed.
A little bit of a nod. Interesting. He's streaming Bluetooth music to the headphones.
The best headphones I've listened to the new Streetlight Manifesto tracks on.
Oh, God.
Are
Do you think
on
he's listening
the
to
AirPods
YouTube
Pro.
or Coldplay right now?
What's the difference?
Yeah, same thing.
They do look really good.
He's switching tracks
people's
again.
heads,
He's
to be
moving
honest.
to another music
I'm
track.
sorry, I'm sure this is like so much fun to watch right now.
No, we're narrating what you're doing. It's great.
Yeah.
I do think they're good looking headphones.
Yeah.
I just used them on the plane this morning, and I do think that the ANC is good in the high end mids, but the low end ANC like doesn't work at all. Like I had it on high, and it was just like, like
Wait, so you
I
could still hear like the airplane?
the droning of the
Oh,
airplane.
interesting. Usually it's
Yeah.
in reverse. Like it
I know.
usually is really good at taking out those.
I know
drones.
that's what was weird. Like there was no, I couldn't hear anything. And when people talk to me, I can't hear it. But
Right.
the actual sound of the airplane, the like low hum, I could hear it like very.
I think
well.
I think my observation was the exact same, but I thought it was volume based. I think it's just the plane is so loud that it was just the floor is just a little bit above
But when I
zero.
use other headphones, like it cuts it.
Right. So I'm saying the ANC in these
Oh.
is not strong enough to cancel the loudness of the plane,
Yeah,
no
maybe.
matter what frequency it is.
Maybe.
But when people talk, that's not going to be loud enough.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Ellis is still going. So should we move on to the phone while he finishes testing?
Sure. Yeah. We'll move on to the phone. The phone.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's about right for the headphones.
That's how I felt too. My review. I don't know, man.
I don't know, man. I am so like the worst person to ask about headphones.
That's not true.
It is true. Unfortunately, it's just because I really just feel like it's whatever you like the best is always going to be the best. Okay,
Yeah.
but what I think about these is that things that I really appreciate, sub bass, like all headphones, is not awesome. That you don't really even perceive those frequencies with your ears, so like headphones would not be able to reproduce them anyway.
You don't feel it in your chest?
You do feel it in your chest with your unless
with
you
those
had,
headphones, I mean.
No,
I listen to headphones like this.
I was gonna say if you had some sort of like bizarre like anyway. So, but the bass,
to that point, really quick, to kind of loop into what we were talking about earlier.
Oh, while I had ANC on.
No, from like the beginning of the pod. Yeah. That CES demo that I tried with the haptic thing, that was the use case. It was you can listen to music, and then if you have the little thing, you would get the sub pack.
It was the sub pack. Yeah, that's. I know people that swear by those.
It was cool. It just was a gimmick. I was like, okay.
You know who swears by the sub pack, or at least did during COVID?
Who?
Timbaland.
He also does like
respect that, man.
AI artists instead of real artists. So.
You ever heard a song that goes like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
That was Timbaland.
Yeah.
That's literally every Timbaland song, and I love him.
Sorry to cut you off.
Bass,
continue.
Like bass, not sub bass, is good. I like that it's low distortion. I can hear some details in it. The mids also low distortion for headphones in this price range, which I think is pretty cool. That's like a big thing for me at headphones. The highs are dog water on these things. Don't expect to hear a single detail in like any of the music you listen to. They're not particularly even. They don't have good stereo imaging, which is like not uncommon for wireless headphones. What else? I guess those are some bad things that I accidentally put in the good things list.
Yeah, no, but they were comfortable.
They're unbelievably comfortable.
Yeah.
I love how deep the cups are. I love the material the foam is made out of. I love watching it return to form slowly like a Tempur-Pedic pillow.
I had to ask if the ear cups were replaceable because as hard as I tried, it didn't feel like I could take them off.
Yeah.
The response that I got was technically they are removable. However, it is very difficult and we're not selling replacement cups yet. So basically not removable.
So in 6 months, when these have all my summer sweat and destroyed them, I'm just gonna be
something
walking
to
around
think
with, like,
about.
gross.
I really
summer
do
sweat
hope
like a
that they
place
start
in the
selling
UK?
ear cups or making it easier because I do want them to be replaceable.
Yeah.
I would say, as far as Ellis's sound man opinion on these headphones, is that unless you are someone, that was a cloud lifter falling onto the ground, unless you are someone who has like one ultra specific thing that you want in a headphone. Like I want amazing high-end clarity. I want as little distortion in the mids as possible. I want noise canceling that works exactly like this. I would say almost any over-the-ear headphone you buy is going to be about the same. Like we're talking like a pretty small delta, and they're all trash. That's kind of how I feel. It's just like all headphones are bad. You just got to pick the one that is bad in a way that you enjoy. And if you really want amazing sounding headphones, they're called speakers.
Well, they had one more feature that I don't understand that they talked about a lot and I still don't understand. And it's called channel hop. Did they talk to you about this?
They did not.
Yeah, so they have this feature called channel hop. And the idea is that you can set up a number of different audio apps on your phone. And you can just use the paddle to just jump between the audio apps. And they were like, yeah, so if you're listening to one thing on Spotify and then you want to listen to another thing on Apple Music, you just flip the paddle and then suddenly you're listening on Apple Music. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait.
Why would I do that?
iOS already does that.
Why would I want to?
Well, it's literally called, it's a feature that they have in it. And they talked a lot about it.
I would just open my phone at that point. That's kind of.
I don't understand.
Wait, can I plug it? Wait.
Yeah, David and I were really trying to figure this out
If
earlier.
you can figure out why this is useful, that would be helpful to me. I don't know. I don't really get it. If anyone gets it, let me know.
This is our cry for help.
Yeah.
We're getting
me.
Carl played right now.
I would say watch the full review. I've had them for a week. We go into way more detail. The other thing we can talk about is the phone itself, the Nothing Phone 3.
Nothing Phone 3.
This one we don't have as much detail to talk about because it's gotten announced and we've gotten specs and we've gotten features.
I got to play with it a bunch.
You got to play with it.
And I have footage.
So we have some thoughts, but obviously the review is not out yet. It is coming soon.
Yeah.
I will again go around the table. Is this thing ugly?
No.
David says no.
I think it looks great.
I say yes.
Adam says yes.
I haven't seen it yet.
Ellis hasn't seen it yet. Perfect. I'm going to pull it up.
Tiebreaker.
I think yes, it is ugly.
It's so good looking.
Nothing Phone 3.
I think
I'm gonna
all of
turn
their
my
phones,
monitor to Ellis right now
And let's get his
get a
reaction.
live reaction. Is this to you an ugly phone?
What? What?
It looks great.
Dude, that looks like first generation Dolly render of
This looks like a teenage
Like
engineering.
it looks it looks like nonsense.
So I'm going to go with ugly. Yeah. I think this is a polarizing phone where 1/3 of people will go, oh, this is kind of neat. And 2/3 of people will go, it's kind of wonky. There is a screen on the back, a 25 by 25 pixel glyph matrix. They've gotten rid of the normal lights they had on the back of the phone before. This is a $799 quote flagship phone, but without a flagship chip. It's a Snapdragon 8S Gen 4. It is a plastic back, triple 50 megapixel cameras. Actually, I don't know if it's a plastic back. I think it's Gorilla Glass back. But triple 50 megapixel cameras on the back and a 50 megapixel selfie camera. Silicon carbon battery, 5100 milliamp hour battery, fast charging. Just a bunch of things going on with this phone. But the aesthetics are the thing that is hard to get over at the beginning.
I think it looks great.
I feel like all of Nothing's phones are beautiful. I think this phone in particular is like not the prettiest one because of the asymmetry of the cameras.
Now
that is throwing me off.
Now that I've looked at it for a little bit, this is the best looking phone of this year.
Or disagree.
It's bold.
The 3A is the best
Did you
looking
slip
phone.
you $50 under the table to say that?
The 3A.
Oh, the Nothing but 3A. Yeah, I mean that's a good looking.
It was
phone.
beautiful.
I'm into stuff that doesn't look.
Good.
You think the Nothing 3A?
I think it looks good because it's weird.
Is that the gray one?
Do you think the Nothing 3A is the
3A.
prettiest?
Yeah, that
good
phone is
too.
beautiful.
That phone looks great.
Okay, here's what is
I can't reach the wrong button from here.
Here's
I'll
what
do it
is
for you.
unique, and I think is why the cameras look the way they do. The periscope camera, these phones that all have periscope cameras have large camera bumps because they have large sensors and large optics arrays that cause this z-axis depth off of the back of the phone.
Yeah.
This phone doesn't really have a huge camera bump. It does have like camera rings, kind of like a Samsung phone.
Yeah.
But with this big periscope camera, they actually punched that through the PCB so that instead of the whole thing being on one side and stacked on top of the PCB, they've like punched the element through the PCB. So there is no camera bump, but there are small camera rings instead.
Right.
That is the thing that they are proud of. The downside it's just not aligned in any axis with any of the other cameras. So
Which
it's
I
kind of
love.
a weird
but
blob.
Counterpoint. It has like a counterweight on the side of it. It's
But
a
it's
little
the same
plastic
color
bit.
as the rest of the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they had
subtle.
made the counterweight thing a different color, I think
Yeah.
it would have looked more even. Because it technically, those are like the pieces in the top are subdivided into like 3 boxes, and technically that camera does fit inside the box with the counterweight part, and it does fit kind of evenly there.
Yeah.
If the counterweight had been slightly different color, I think it would have looked more even.
Fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
Well, I still think it looks great. Okay, so
All this, and it was just the aesthetics.
Yeah.
so they got rid of the famous glyphs that Nothing has always had, but they added
Kind of.
Well, they added a thing called the glyph matrix.
Yeah, it just got moved into there.
Yeah.
It's a tiny screen on the back.
Yeah.
It would have been nice if they had both because the glyph was like that was the key part of the Nothing phone, and I also wish that they had just updated the glyphs to be able to do like multiple colors or whatever, just like the Nexus 6 when I jailbroke it.
Damn.
Yeah. But now this glyph matrix has a number of things that they call glyph toys, which
Genius.
is a weird
That's
way.
awesome.
I love it.
It's a weird name. I don't like that.
It's so good.
I don't.
They don't have to name everything, guys.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
If Apple could do it, by God, nothing can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, it's this little
dynamic back
tiny.
island.
It's this tiny diode grid, and you can do a number of different things on it. They have a number of different apps built in so far. They have a bubble level, which can be kind of helpful, I guess. They have a digital clock, so in like a stopwatch clock that's pretty good looking,
And a regular clock.
That's cool.
and a regular clock to show you the time. They have a battery indicator that shows you like the battery percentage as well as like a drain sort of like level thing. They have the Miro app, which basically gives you like a little subdivided grid.
Yeah, do we think
of
that's
what-
going to work?
I used it at the event.
And it worked? Because I just used the
works.
computer version of
Yeah.
it, and I'm in a very well-lit room right now.
Does it look great? No, but you can tell where you are.
That is pretty much.
You know, you actually can't from
No, that is
the
basically.
website.
So it's not technically okay. So it's basically a viewport for the main camera because you can. There's it's not capacitive. It's a button on the back of the phone.
There's a pressure sensitive
button that you use to interact with the toys. I hate that sentence. I'm an adult.
That's why you need fun in your life. That's why they're called toys.
So you can play spin the bottle and rock, paper, scissors.
Okay. So there's
Absolutely.
also spin the bottle, and I just have to. This is really funny because I don't think Carl Payne knows what spin the bottle is for.
Dude, what?
I think he 100%.
During he knows, but he knows. But it was at the event. They were like, they had a little video, and they showed these 4 friends eating dinner, and they're like, "It's time to pay the bill. They were like, let's play spin the bottle." And then it was like they were panicking. Oh no, who's it gonna land on? It was like, is this about to get weird? And then they were like, guess you have to pay the bill. And I was
Gotcha.
like, okay.
Oh, that's what spin the bottle is
He
for.
kind of laughed.
Listen, it took someone like 5 minutes to code this just so that they could do that in the keynote, and I think totally worth it.
No,
For
It
sure.
took someone 5 minutes to code this just so Nothing phone users could call everyone else kissless virgins.
They have a solar clock, which is pretty cool. It shows like a horizon, and it shows where the sun is in the sky, which is pretty cool. I like that. They have rock, paper, scissors, so you can play against your phone. I famously have won multiple times against the phone at the demo unit station, which was cool. I also played the phone I was using at the demo station versus the phone that a friend of mine was using at the demo station, and I won multiple times, which is also cool.
Did you tweet that 6 years ago?
No. But they also have a Magic 8 Ball, and the Magic 8 Ball one is
That's
funny.
awesome.
It shows up, and then you shake the phone like a Magic 8 Ball, and then it does the bubbly thing. And then it shows you the answer like better luck next time or whatever. Yeah. But it has it uses the gyroscope and the vibration motor, and so as you like rotate the phone, the thank you or like better luck next time moves around, you can feel it sort of
This is just like the nothing dynamic island.
Even worse.
This is
worse?
less
this is
functional.
way less useful.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
only because they're the ones that made the 20 or so apps that are on it. But
Yeah,
like,
that's my question.
They have an APK, yes.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
They have an
API?
open APK. API.
API,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry, API. Yeah.
So, because now at this point with the phone just coming out, this is for me firmly in gimmick territory.
Oh yeah.
But what if like Flighty came to Android? God, crazy
No.
idea, I know. But and then on the back of your phone, you could see like, oh, Flight.
Well,
is
here's the
departing in
problem
40
I have
minutes.
with it is that
You know, like app developers need to put
it's
this in.
hard when these companies it's really difficult when these companies introduce some new gimmick and they're like, there's an open API, but then literally the next generation they just get rid of it.
That's true.
That's
so
fair.
the glyphs, I don't know how many people are going to develop for it because again, who knows if they're going to keep it. That's kind of the awkward thing.
Yeah.
You need a company to really be like, this is our new direction. We're doing this for at least 4 generations. You can develop for it. You know, because Razer has famously done this too, where they like come out with a laptop with some new crazy feature and they're like, open API developers, come on. And then the next year they just get rid of it.
What's the matter, developers? Don't you love developing?
Yeah, come on. Don't you love
is
like
funny
spending
because
tons of
a
resources
lot of-
for a small audience?
You know, a lot of tech enthusiasts, even like myself and reviewers, we want constant improvement and we want things to get better. So when I see something like a hole punch cutout for a selfie camera and Face ID, and then Apple makes dynamic island around it, I go, oh, okay, this is a nice way of making up for like this, you know, technology that's not ready to go fully under the screen yet. But I expect that dynamic island and that hole punch to get smaller every year until it's gone.
Right.
And Apple, even though you could argue it's stagnant or whatever, to their credit, developers will develop something for Dynamic Island, and there will be years of phones with the same Dynamic Island.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they can at least count on it like working well with all these phones.
They're also reaching like billions of people, whereas nothing with a single version of the Nothing phone. Yeah, you just don't know, like you said, you don't know if it's going to last a long time. So anyway, I mean, it's cool, it's gimmicky, it's fun. If you're going to develop like a fun little app for it, then I think that's dope. But yeah, besides that, there's just like on a previous Nothing phone, there's that small little red square.
Little red light.
This time it's actually a light.
It's a record light.
And I think that you said that. I think we might have said that in the last video of the phone that had that it would be cool if it was functional.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe we didn't. Maybe
I'll
I
take
just
credit.
thought
No, I'll
it.
take credit.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Grok, is this true?
Grok, context, please. That never gets old.
Yeah, but now when you're recording with the phone, that little square will blink, which
Nice.
is cool. I think
like
it's
that.
nice. It's not that bright, so outside I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but inside
Fair
you
enough.
can, which is nice. They have this new thing called Essential Search, and basically it's a system-wide search similar to the persistent Google search bar, but it's also an LLM using Gemini Nano. Or
You're
not
losing me, David.
Not Gemini Nano, using Gemini. Well, now, so now instead of when you're searching your phone, you can search for an app, you can search for a calendar event or whatever, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also just say like, what are the name of Saturn's moons, and it just shows it to you using Gemini Nano.
Will it make one up?
Probably.
Yeah, so it'll just be wrong.
But maybe it's not Gemini Nano, it's just regular Gemini because it requires an internet connection.
Oh.
But it's I don't know, I think it's interesting to not have to have the Gemini app open, and you can just
Interesting.
you can now use this search bar for anything that you want to search. But it's cool because they were saying basically that when you use regular Gemini and ask it a question, it tells you way too much information, Whereas this one, it'll just give you the answers, but very succinctly. It'd be like, oh, the moons around Jupiter are these things, and then that's kind of it.
I.O.
And I think it's just a nice little thing to be able to, if you're with your friends looking up a simple question and it just tells you.
No, let me lie to my friends in peace.
Yeah, and we also have to talk about the price. We didn't talk about the price.
$7.99.
$7.99.
So $7.99, which has been quite contentious for people on the internet because nothing is used to making the $350, $400 phone.
Yeah. Remind you of anything?
I wonder where Carl Pei used to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird. Yeah. So they're calling it their first flagship. That's the same price as the Pixel 9. That's the same price as the S25. Mm-hmm. It's basically the same price as iPhone 16. Mm-hmm. So it's basically now they are competing directly with all of these major manufacturers. They obviously have way more fun features and weird. Like the UI is really good.
And you could actually get kissed with this phone.
Or win rock, paper, scissors.
Or what? Rock, paper, scissors. So
yeah.
I think that's going to be a big question mark. But and so the base price gets you 256 gigs of storage and 12 gigs of RAM, and then the 512 model, which is I think $100 more, gives you 512 gigabytes of storage and 16 gigs of RAM. So it does give you more RAM.
It is interesting that they're playing the flagship space, but they technically don't have a flagship chip. It's the Snapdragon 8S Gen 4 instead of the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is in some of the phones you just talked about at that price, the Galaxy S25. How many people buying these phones care about the chipset versus just deserve the better chipset at that price, Like I think a lot of people buy a car and don't really know about the engine in it, but once you spend over a certain amount, you deserve to get better parts and better build, whether you notice it or are an enthusiast or not. And I think if you're buying a $799 phone, you probably should get a flagship chipset, but if you don't notice, then maybe it doesn't matter.
I think you're trading off that for a more interesting design and more interesting UI. I would personally buy this over a regular S25 like any day of the week because I think the S25 is the most boring phone in history.
You're probably also trading cameras. I haven't tested any of the cameras yet. That's a pure assumption. I'm assuming the Samsung cameras are better, but I don't know. You're also trading... I guess there's the AI button in the essential space on the Nothing phone. Yeah, so it's just a more interesting phone.
It's more interesting. You're trading design and some interesting features for...
Yeah. But then you get the ugliest phone mankind has ever seen.
The opposite. Phone of the year.
Well, there's a bunch of other things about this phone I haven't seen in person yet, and I'm looking forward to testing for the review. It appears to be a big, bright, nice, evenly bezeled AMOLED display, high refresh rate.
4,500 nits.
It's a crazy number. Like I want to see it outside.
Yeah.
It appears to be a 5,100 plus milliamp hour silicon carbon battery with fast charging. That's some flagship level stuff. I want to see how long that lasts. It is, of course, Nothing OS 3.5 on top of Android 15, and then it's going to get updated to, I think, 4.0 on Android 16. I have a lot to test. I want to check out this phone. So expect the full review coming imminently. It is for sure going to happen. But those are some first thoughts on Nothing Phone 3 and Nothing Headphone 1.
It's gorge.
I think so.
Gorge as in gorge my eyes out.
As in Gorgetown University.
It is above the S25, but below the Pixel 9.
It's striking and beautiful.
I do think the Pixel 9
striking, yes.
It's
As in punches you in the eye?
Ionic 5N of phones.
Oh, that's a take. That's maybe Ionic 6.
The Porsche
but no, but
one?
the Ionic 6 doesn't have the voxels in the same way.
It was a Porsche back.
Yeah.
It kind of does on the back.
No, I'm sticking with 5.
Okay.
I'm sticking with 5.
All right.
I like it. I like
Speaking of
it.
sticking it with 5,
What?
I'm about to get 5 more points in trivia.
Nice.
Oh.
Damn. I thought you were off the rails there, but you brought it back
Brought it
nicely.
back in.
Okay.
All right. This is a fill in the blank. So finish the sentence. Google Keep is available on Google Play for devices running blank and above. Oh, no. This is from the official announcement post way back in the day when it first came out.
Oh, when it
Wait,
first
so this
came
isn't.
out. So this is not current.
Can you
This is
no,
not-
no, no. This
Can
is
you
not
say the
current.
sentence again?
Google Keep is available on Google Play for devices running blank and above. It's an operating system.
What are you cooking here?
David
can't
said
say-
something.
No,
Google
say
the
the
answer.
question again.
I just did.
No, read the whole thing again.
Google Keep.
The whole finish this sentence. Is that what you said?
This is a fill in the blank question.
you
Yeah,
say-
it's a fill in the blank
Do you say
question.
finish this sentence? You said that right?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
yes.
that is.
Google Keep on saatavilla Google Playssa laitteille, joissa on tyhjät ja uudemmat näytöt.
That's finish.
I don't know what just happened.
Some of the worst
finished-
dad jokes.
I finished the sentence.
Oh my god.
We have to take a break. We have to. We'll be back. We'll take a break.
I thought that was good.
That was terrible.
Support for Waveform comes from Life 360. We'll be the first to tell you that not everything goes to plan. Life comes with its own set of curveballs for you to handle, especially when it comes to protecting your family. So while you can't foolproof your life, with Life 360, you can family-proof your family. Life 360 is a location sharing app that makes family life easier. Knowing where everyone is at any given time makes coordinating daily routines and activities a breeze. And you can attach Life 360's tile trackers to all of your family's important stuff and track them right within the app, whether that's your keys, wallet, or even the family pet. If it tends to go missing, it's a great candidate for a tile tracker.
David has already told you guys about how he tracked his cameras and he lost it once in a taxi. But I actually you what?
Once.
I actually use mine to track my dog Zuri's real-time location. She's actually really great off-leash, and everyone always asks us, like, oh, how'd you train her to go, like, wherever you go? We actually did nothing of the sort. She's just very good at following us. She came like that out the box. We got very lucky. But just in case she does ever decide to run across the street chasing a squirrel or something, I do track her location, and I share it with my fiance, so we always know where our pup is.
So this year, you can stay connected with location sharing and stay coordinated with place alert notifications for when someone arrives or leaves a given location. You can family-proof your family with Life 360. Visit life360.com or download the app today and use code WAVE to get 15% off. That's life360.com, code WAVE. Support for this show comes from Miro. AI can help you push your work forward, but if you're a little unclear on how that happens, you're not alone. In fact, Miro recently did a survey showing that 76% of people believe that AI can benefit their role, but 54% still struggle to know when to use it. Miro's Innovation Workspace is the answer. It's an intelligent platform that brings people and AI together in a shared space to get great work done. Miro's Innovation Workspace can help your teams be faster, more productive, and more effective. Miro AI turns all of your disparate pieces of data, like sticky notes or screenshots, into usable diagrams and product briefs and data tables and prototypes, all in just minutes. It's more than just putting a bunch of ideas on a board. You'll be able to rapidly iterate with your teammates to bring ideas to life fast. So you don't have to be an AI master coming up with perfect questions for prompts, and you don't need to toggle yet another tool. The work you're already doing on Miro's canvas is the prompt. Help your teams get great work done with Miro. Check out Miro.com to find out how. That's Miro.com.
Support for Waveform comes from Gigabyte. There's a lot of talk out there about how AI is revolutionizing our world. But how can AI power our passions? And what do we do for fun? That's where Gigabyte's AI laptops come in. Gigabyte's 2025 next-gen AI PCs are built for gamers and beyond. Every model comes with Gmate, an exclusive and groundbreaking AI agent for seamless hardware and software control. Its intuitive press and speak button makes managing your laptop as easy as having a conversation, with intelligent settings for battery, performance, sound, cooling, and even privacy protection. Powered by NVIDIA GeForce RTX 50 series laptop GPUs and NVIDIA NIM microservices, the Aorus Master Gigabyte Aero and Gigabyte Gaming Series deliver cutting-edge performance. With upgraded WindForce Infinity X cooling and sleek portable designs, Gigabyte AI PCs redefine what it means to game in the AI era. All models are available now. You can get more details by going to gigabyte.com/laptops/all-series. That's gigabyte.com/laptops/all-series today.
Welcome back. Now we are going to do overhyped or underhyped. Again, to explain the rules, I have a list of things that I'm going to run through.
By the way, if you have alliteration for the title of this game,
yes, please let us know.
It would be good.
Boom or bust?
I feel like someone's used that
lame.
before, though.
It's sort of boomer core, you know.
Hyper
Nipe.
Anyway.
Hypernipe. Yeah, if you have a name, let us know. But I'm going to go through this list, and you guys all have to tell me if the thing that I named...
Sorry. Claude gave me an answer that was so close to hyper-knife. I was like, no way.
You have to tell me if the thing I named is overhyped or underhyped.
Okay.
Or
hyped.
perfectly hyped. You get one perfully hyped to use on this list.
There we go.
All right.
Only one?
Only one.
All right.
First thing, Tyrese Halliburton.
Underhyped.
How am I
Underhyped.
supposed to know?
Underhyped.
You know, we explained it to you last week.
Underhyped.
He's Waluigi.
Is he the guy that broke his leg?
Yeah.
Kind of. Towards
Jace.
Achilles. Look. I'm going to just make this decision for you guys. There is no way someone gets voted most underrated or overrated player in the NBA and then balls out all the way till June. Like that is it. That
Till
he is
Game 7.
by definition underhyped.
Generationally clutch run. We're
Yeah.
going to be telling our grandkids about how
But
many
the fact
buzzer
that you
beaters
guys are all saying this makes him perfectly hyped, right?
No,
Thank you,
no.
David. I don't know.
He literally won a poll of NBA players for being the most overrated player. Like everyone was like, everyone thinks this guy is good. He's trash, and then he just showed them all. So I think he has to be given. I love you, Tyrese.
I'm with him.
Take me to Vegas with you.
What does that have to do with technology?
It doesn't. It's just so perfectly in this segment that I had to start it off first.
Okay. I'm just going to agree with you guys because I don't know any better.
All right, nice. So he's underhyped.
Underhyped.
All right.
Tyree. Is that the thing? Oh,
What?
Kyrie? No, that's Kyrie.
Okay. Oh, that's Kyrie. Sorry. Okay, I have a...
Kyrie!
What a reference, though. That's great.
That's how often we do that in the studio.
Yeah.
David.
RDC World 1, come on the pod.
Nintendo Switch 2, overhyped or underhyped or perfectly hyped?
Unbelievably hot take.
Oh, no.
I kind of think it's overhyped.
No, I agree. Actually, my review is going to
Overhyped?
come out. My review will be out by the time this podcast is out.
Yeah. Guess who hyped it?
And I kind of agree. The what is the beginning of an essay called? The thesis. The thesis of my review is the Switch 2 and my review of it don't matter. It's just the games.
Yeah.
You're just here to play games.
Welcome to Nintendo.
What game do you want to play? Get the console that plays that game.
Yeah.
Can the console play the game? Great. Can the console not play the game? Don't get it. Get the
Yeah.
one that plays the game you care about.
Yep.
I want to play Mario. All right, get a Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The end.
Yeah. So I'm coming at it from a person who had a Switch OLED. And I feel like coming from a Switch OLED, it feels really overhyped because I feel like the screen is
Also
like
true. Yeah.
not even as good. The bezels are way bigger.
I am such
the
a
Switch
high
2.
refresh rate
Diva.
loser. I am so torn on the screen. Like OLED looks better, obviously.
Yeah.
But 120 hertz also to my eye for the few games and the few times that I
Yeah.
can see it also looks
I've
great.
just never been like, oh, I want Mario to be 120 hertz.
That's fair.
Like, it does look amazing on Mario Kart.
Most of the games are 60 anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The new Mario Kart looks like it's an Unreal Engine game, and I think that looks great. I think it's cool. I think it's kind of
So cool.
weird. No, it's a little bit like weird to see a Nintendo game
little
in
much.
such like high fidelity and like with
Yeah.
high refresh rate and all this stuff. I mean, it's fantastic. So I mean, I don't know. I think there's been all these articles coming out from very reputable people who do very thorough, reputable tests. So they are smarter than me in this category. And they're saying like, oh, all of the Switch 2 graphics updates are basically remasters, and the games look so much better, and blah blah blah. And I downloaded the graphics update for Breath of the Wild and started playing it, and I'm like, yeah,
I didn't notice it.
I didn't.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the draw distance of the. And I'm like, okay. Like this has never been a thing.
That's every console though. Like the PS5 came out and they were like, "Look at this ray tracing," and
even worse.
I would need a side by side to know.
But Nintendo is the last possible company that this should matter to people about. You know what I mean?
It's overrated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a little overrated.
Bigger screen, better chip, play more games.
I think for a lot of people, the Switch 2 is like the better console because it has a lot better features and has it's a bigger screen, so you can play it with your kid and you can both see it easier, and it's like good. It's good. It's a very.
Can it play Switch 1 games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So what was yours, Ellis?
Dude, I think I've played any Switch 1 or 2 like maybe one time.
No.
I literally wouldn't.
But you've seen the hype.
Yeah,
I've seen the hype.
So
the
is it
hype has
overhyped or is
been
it-
unbelievable, and it's been all me.
Nintendo is just like a vehicle for this like this very indescribable feeling that's somewhere
IP
between.
happiness.
It's like this feeling that's like somewhere between like holding a newborn puppy and like building a house made of twigs and gingerbread at the same time. I don't know, like and like I think that was because the only Nintendo, like I had a Game Boy or whatever, but like the Wii was like a huge part of my childhood.
Same.
And that thing was just like dripping in sauce. Like every sound it made, every visual cue.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear it without even us playing it. You can hear it.
You wanted to leave it open on your TV all day.
Yeah.
And
Just have the sounds playing.
to me, when I picked up a Switch 1 for the first time and the background was gray and there was no music, and I was just like, what? I don't need this.
Great.
Come on, man. You know that's not what I'm talking about here.
They were better on the Switch 1. That's what I'm saying.
So yeah,
We did that
I'm gonna
live
go ahead and
sound
say overhyped, but I also I don't really game like that. I'm not the person to.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing. I saw the hype go so far as one of the podcasts I listened to literally named one of their episodes Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch 2.
What losers?
Insane. Like the hype was
That's
crazy.
insane.
They
Why
probably
would they
have
do
no
that?
talent.
Yeah, it's like one of those basic.
I know I don't want to use my appropriately hyped yet because I feel like I might need it later, but I do want to say like I don't think anything that everyone likes is overhyped. You know what I mean? If everyone likes it, everyone's happy, great. Everyone's stoked. Why do we have to come in and rain on everyone's parade?
Fair take.
Yeah. Which is
You
like
know?
basically.
But also, if
describes
you
the
use an
Nintendo
Android
Switch 2.
phone, you're a loser.
No, that basically describes the Nintendo Switch 2, right? Because
Maybe
like
cut that.
there's so much stuff online that's so negative about like, oh, it says it's 120, but it's technically this and blah blah.
Yeah, it's
And it's like,
are people happy?
but this is again, it's like the whole Nintendo ethos. It's just like it's about the games, it's about the joy, it's about the like.
I don't know, man. I
wonder.
can really tell the frames per second when I'm playing Animal Crossing. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Debt Simulator 2025.
So, yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna say overhyped, and we contributed to that. I'm not upset that I bought it.
You were Nintendo Switch 2 for like 3 weeks running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he never said it was good.
That's true. That's true.
I
Fact.
don't think it's bad. This is the other thing.
Right,
I just
right,
like
right.
I think that the screen's a little bit of a downgrade. The bezels are a little big, but that's like my only complaint. And I don't think it's bad. And they had to make something else, and they weren't gonna. Nintendo found a winning formula and they made it better, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Happens.
So
Wait, before you read the next one,
you know.
I don't think you're going to be able to cut out what I said
I'm
earlier.
definitely not going to.
So I didn't mean it. It was a joke.
But speaking of Android,
I love my Android friends.
The next one
and
on the
Android
list.
coworkers. I really did not mean that one, guys.
And again, my overhyped only means that the level of hype that was absolutely insane, that was driven by us. I'm just gonna throw us under the bus as many times as possible.
Do it. We deserve it.
I think this was perfectly hyped.
The Nintendo
This is
Switch
what I
2.
would have used my
I
perfectly
mean,
hyped.
that's
on.
fair because everyone that bought it is happy with it.
Exactly. And
so I guess that's true.
There was enough stock. Everyone who wanted one
Oh,
basically
true.
got one.
Yeah.
There weren't lines out the door, and still they sold like 3 or 4 million in the first week or something like that. Like it was something crazy. So
I think the only thing is that I really miss Nintendo releasing a new console and there's a completely new input paradigm. Like the DS having the second screen that was touch, the Wii having the motion controls.
What are you talking
The
about?
magnets.
The mouse is,
The magnets.
yeah.
Anyway, next up,
Yeah.
Android tablets. Overhyped, underhyped, or perfectly hyped?
Android tablets have little to no hype most of the time from most people,
Which is appropriate.
and I think that they don't deserve any more than they have. So I'm going with exactly correctly hyped.
I'm going exactly correctly hyped too.
I'll bite.
Yeah.
Okay, all on one. Got rid of those quick.
Underhyped.
Okay, perfect. You're going underhyped.
Going underhyped. Okay. Because as the world's biggest hater of Android and Android devices,
You wanted to wipe that out of the podcast 2 minutes ago.
well, I was rude. I hate Android devices, not the blessed souls who are forced to use them. But
I can't wait till you fall in love with Android in like 6 years. I'm gonna play all these back for you,
please do, man. And then,
and then we'll tweet it.
look, here's the deal. Here's the deal with Android tablets.
Okay.
The thing that is really cool about Android is that every app ever that could possibly be conceived has already been written and deployed on the Google Play Store. So as like a daily driver, this is my cell phone operating system, not a fan. As I have a very specific use case that involves a wireless network and some function I need to perform, and it needs to fit in a small box, and I know it needs to be reliable, Android works really well, which is why I have a big stack of Android phones in my apartment for when I need to run a small media server that does not need a lot of bandwidth, for when I need to set up an NDI camera rig at a gig, for when I, for all sorts of like various computery things. They're super useful for that. And so, as I've been seeing you with your Galaxy A10 Ultra tab,
S10 Ultra.
S10 Ultra.
Thank you.
as I've been seeing you with your tab get around your life and using it, every time I see you, I think that's pretty sweet. And it looks like it works really well, except for the fact that we couldn't figure out how to mute it.
Yeah.
Last episode. That was pretty
I literally had to put on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah. But other than that, so this is all to say that if you happen to get an Android tab in your life and you can think of some random thing that you don't want to sacrifice a computer for, probably is pretty sweet. Asterisk, the Android tab I have floating around my life is a Huawei MatePad Pro, which is so locked down.
Yeah, it's hard.
It might as well be in a maximum security prison.
Yeah.
So not for me, but for you, maybe.
I'm just kind of a tablet hater in general.
Perfect, because this next one is iPads.
Overhyped.
Overhyped?
Exactly hyped. I'm using it.
I think it's overhyped.
Exactly
I
hyped.
I do not understand. I'm like, it's
I think if you asked me this before iPadOS 26, I would have had a different answer. But I think now
The beta's
just a
convinced me.
laptop
the
now.
beta has convinced me. Is it overhyped still? It's possible it may still be overhyped. I don't know. I think I have to stick with overhyped.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna give iPadOS 26 a chance for it to be perfectly hyped.
The only thing 99% of people do with their tablets is like watch Netflix.
Oh yeah, for 99% of people, overhyped.
Yeah.
For 1% of people, maybe perfectly hyped, maybe underhyped.
Yeah.
To be determined.
No, for sure. I mean, there's digital artists that use them, and it's really
amazing.
great for them.
Yeah.
And it's probably underhyped in their eyes. But for the 99%, that
It's a
Netflix
Netflix
could be had
machine.
anywhere else.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't buy the Pro. Don't buy the Pro for the Netflix.
Guys, I did the most embarrassing thing happen to me. I'm like trying to see if I could even find the picture, but iPad related. I was like on a FaceTime call with someone, which is something I really like the iPad for, because its webcam is better than the one in my $6,000 MacBook somehow. Noticeably better. Like when I call people on my laptop, they're like, ew. Anyway. They were like, what are you wearing to this thing tonight? And I was like, let me just show you. And I walked up to a mirror and flipped the camera around. And everyone just broke out laughing at like me holding my iPad up to the mirror. I totally forgot I was on the iPad. I have this
What do you think, guys?
Yeah, that was literally it. That was exactly. And like, I have the screenshots somewhere that they sent me. I'm going to have to find it anyway.
That's so good.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
Overhyped. Priceless.
Yeah. How are we feeling? We want one or two more?
One or two
I have one more
yeah.
thing I could say about iPads.
Go for it.
Which is I lost my Apple Pencil on whatever our last travel shoot was.
Very easy to do.
I literally feel like a part of me died. It's not like I was using the Apple Pencil every day, but like every time I open my iPad and it's not sitting on top, I'm just like,
There goes $100.
I could have been sketching or handwriting.
yeah. Well, I'm a diehard scribbler. I think Scribble is like one of the coolest things Apple has ever released. It's not the coolest. The coolest is standby mode on the iPhone. Maintain that.
Stand by me.
But anyway,
Go. What about the math notes?
that's up there. But Math Notes is only empowered by Scribble.
Cool.
Damn. Wow.
All right. Next up,
Get wrecked.
last one. Do we want to make this the last one?
1 to 2 more, yeah.
Smartwatches. The silence.
In the interest of being quick,
Exactly. That's why I picked
I saw a selfie I took a little bit ago where you could see my Apple Watch Ultra, and I have not worn it since. So I'm having a little bit of a moment with smartwatches at the moment. I was just like, God, my whole wrist,
I'm gonna go overhyped
edge to
because
edge.
I'm gonna go overhyped because I think that they may be extinct in under a decade.
Whoa, hot take.
That is a hot take.
There's a chance that the face wearables completely eliminate.
Do you want to run with
Farm
smart
wearables.
glasses?
I would run with smart glasses.
But that's not a smartwatch. If you just want a band to wearing your wrist to like,
I mean,
heart fitness track, then do that.
Yeah.
it feels more like to me like smartwatches used to be like, wow, I can do my computer on my wrist now, but now it's more like they're just fitness devices. Like pretty much all smartwatches are.
Exactly. So
of
I would
sound
rather
this is
have
true.
smart glasses and a Fitbit than a huge screen on my wrist. You know,
And a real watch.
that's some people might do a real watch.
wait.
So you would never watch it all.
Probably not.
Really?
Yeah.
What about when you know the time?
Yeah, I'll just check my phone.
Yeah, but
Good
it's
question.
annoying.
Damn.
And then you look like a.
I'll just check it on my glasses.
Oh.
I'll just do that.
everyone-
I'll just do the nod that the Google Glass thing made. It's 340 or whatever
No,
Andrew's
wait.
doing.
Wait, this is crazy. So I was at the Nothing event, and they have one of those neck mounts with a MagSafe thing. So they were recording a POV with their phone on the neck mount. And then they had the even reality glasses that have like 2 screens in it.
Yeah.
And they were doing this. And the whole time, I'm not joking. The whole time they're like doing this with their hands and they're just like reading their script while staring blankly ahead. And I was like, wow.
Next level, man.
We've really
He's locked in.
We've
He's locked
entered
in.
the future.
That dude was creating.
Dude,
content.
he was content.
He was content creating. Wow.
Contenting.
I think your phone can do pretty much everything. It's always kind of weird when it's like, oh, my phone has dual band GPS for Strava, but my watch doesn't.
The Ultra does, doesn't it?
The Ultra
Yeah.
does. I do prefer to like not have to run with a phone, and it's cool that it can do the fitness stuff without it. It's just that for what smartwatches were originally invented for, which was to like get notifications on your watch, I don't want that at all.
So it's turned off
Yeah, but then why even wear a smartwatch?
for fitness.
Exactly.
Yeah, but regular watches are cooler.
Overhyped.
This is true.
You're agreeing with me.
I mean,
Ellis has found the picture.
found the
of him
picture.
holding
I-
these
I-
tablets.
Half the size of your torso.
It's so funny. And
look
it's
like a ghost.
My internet went full potato at the same moment too, so it's like a blurry photo.
What are you wearing?
kill me in my
Clothes.
sleep.
This is going in the show notes for audio listeners.
Oh my god. Okay, David, overhyped or underhyped?
Overhyped.
Ellis.
Overhyped. I don't know. I'm
right.
having a moment, but they're nice.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Last one.
Yeah.
Last one.
Specifically for Marquez.
Specifically for Marquez.
But I want to hear you guys first. Actually, you guys go first, and Marquez will answer last. How
Okay,
about
yeah,
that?
so he can judge us.
Tyree Johnson or whatever. I don't know. Continue. Go for it.
please, carry.
Hybrid cars.
Ooh.
Hybrids?
Ooh. Good or bad would be an easy thing for me to answer.
Yeah,
I don't know how other people feel about hybrid cars.
Like
Really?
Actually, you like plug-in hybrids or specifically plug-in hybrids?
I don't
Whatever
know
you
the
want.
Difference.
Whatever
So,
you
yeah, however you interpreted that.
I have my
Go
answer.
for it.
I think plug-in hybrids are underhyped
Okay.
because if you can get like 50 miles, and most people don't drive that far in a day from the suburbs or wherever they are, if they can just plug in, that's like amazing. And then when you need the extra gas, you have it. I still would like the world to transition completely to full EV. So obviously, you know, I don't necessarily want hybrid to be the main thing. It does seem like more of a realistic thing that's going to sell to more customers because it's cheaper as well. So there's that. So I think it is underhyped.
Okay, Ellis.
Yesterday, I hung out with a hybrid, and its name was Panamera 4SE hybrid. 4S space E hyphen hybrid.
Totally good name.
WH1000X.
Yeah, and what was so cool about it to me is that it on the electric motor exclusively, it had 40 miles of range, like David said. So I don't believe it's a plug-in hybrid. I can't quite remember, but you can do your commute on the battery and then do everything else you need to do on the gas motor. And when I think about there's realistically almost all.
I can't believe you said gas motor.
Oh my
God, I'm gonna yell at you so hard.
As opposed to
just the engine.
They call them engines.
Oh, it's like calling it
electric.
it's a gas. Oh, it's like.
I was being a jerk because someone yelled at me once years ago for calling it an engine in an electric car.
Well,
You're like, what are you talking about?
I am technically replacing Andrew this week, who does call it ball golf. So, you know, maybe. Anyway, maybe
because of frisbee golf.
Disc golf.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Pedantic Podcast. I like hybrids. I like the idea that people who have bad complaints about EVs get, shown that, you can still have a really high mileage car that goes really, really fast. And
so you're also saying underhyped?
I mean, I guess, but I don't think there's anyone out here being like, hybrids suck. I don't know.
I mean, the counterpoint of that is that we want the world to transition to fully electric eventually.
Well, yeah, but there are it's more than just the cars,
Okay, I'm glad. So to summarize, both of
you're
your,
here.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a great way to end it. I have a summary of both of your points. I am in the underhyped category as well for hybrids.
Okay.
And I've thought about this a lot recently, and gas cars have come a long way. We've had gas cars for many, many years, and there are true fans of gas cars. So Ellis, you say, why would anyone say hybrids suck? Ask sports car fans. They are saying that exactly.
Really?
Yeah, the 911's a hybrid, and everyone's, hybrids suck.
Don't they know that Formula One cars are hybrids?
They do. But that's why I'm saying underrated, because I think that it's clear that the electric motor, specifically the motor, is a superior form of propulsion.
Yeah.
Period. It's more efficient, more torque, more responsive, better traction control. Everything about the electric motor is better.
Yeah.
Which I have separated out from the electric car because battery technology has a long way to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you say electric car today, that implies electric motors, which are great, and a massive battery, which adds 1,200 pounds to your car, which is not great.
Right.
So in this world where we want to get to all cars eventually having this superior electric motor, some of them can be full battery electric, some of them can be hybrid, some of them can do even what Porsche's done with the 911 Carrera 4 GTS, which I just reviewed, which is they just put electric motors in little parts of the car where it improves the overall gas engine experience. So in that car, the electric motor doesn't drive the wheels ever. The electric motor sits in the turbo to keep it constantly spooled up so that the gas engine is more responsive. And they have one in the gearbox as well.
Wow, that's very smart.
Yeah, in general, I think people, when they think of hybrids, they think of, Prius, very tame, I get better gas mileage. The engine turns off when I stop and I can get 20 miles of electric. And that's all true and that's great. But I think in terms of moving society from gas cars to electric cars, the electric motor through hybrids is moving us, is ushering us to that era. So I am saying, yes, exactly. Battery technology will have to improve until we get to the all-electric world of the future.
Cool.
Counterpoint. I think the way we get sports car heads hooked on electric motors, hear me out. Race cars drive on tracks. The cool part about a track is that we know where the race car is going to go before it goes there. There's some leeway. It's wide. But for the most part, we know in the future all the possible places that race car could go.
If it's NASCAR, it's to the left.
Therefore, hear me out. Take the battery out of the car. No battery, just motor. Put a bumper car style overhang, electrified overhang.
Whoa.
With a brush over the entire track. All of a sudden, you have the same super powerful car.
Whoa.
You're taking 3,000 pounds off the weight and full voltage the entire time. That thing would just be a nonstop kick in the pants.
That would be pretty incredible. I don't know logistically if all of the cars doing that and getting them tangled as they overlap each other.
No. You're picturing like a street car with like the single like single wire and then the hoop thing.
I am.
I'm talking about a bumper car
Like a roof.
where you have an awning. Because bumper cars don't even have the luxury of a racetrack. The bumper cars can move 360 degrees wherever they want, and they still have to be electrified.
Gotcha.
So that's what you see. You see what I'm saying? So you would have the aerodynamic struggle of having a literal mast coming out of every. And I'm also not quite sure how you would do with elevation changes in the racetrack, but that's for engineers to figure out.
Telescoping mast.
So yeah, hybrids. In fact, because of this great idea, hybrids, overhyped, putting a ceiling over every road in America. Underhyped.
Think about it.
Yeah. And don't say anything about inductive charging roads.
Solar
I don't care.
freaking roadway.
All right. On that
So
note,
old man.
I think the heat is finally getting to
so
us.
hot in
The
here.
heat is on.
The heat is on.
Rising to
You know
the
what
top.
else is on? Trivia time.
Let's do it.
Trivia, dude. Quick update on the score. Marquez,
Yeah.
27.
Yeah.
From under the table while he grabs his marker that he just hit the mic with. David, 30.
The lady.
Andrew / Ellis,
Hey,
17.
do my points go to Andrew this week?
Yes, they do. Except for the one that you did. I'll come up with a different one for you.
You answer that one.
Okay. Wait, I know the answer.
Right.
Andrew needs the points.
All right. Question number 1. Guys, which of the following chart-topping musical acts have had their logo on an F1 car during a Grand Prix race? Hit it, Adam. A. Smash Mouth. B. BTS. C. ABBA. Or D. U2. Just kidding. Coldplay.
What's the difference?
Are we going to leave that in? No, yeah. That is in the episode?
I think so.
I think it was during the first break.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
we
we're
had
gonna
a,
keep it
so
in.
none of you know this, we had a full 10,
we gotta keep it
15
in.
minute argument
Before we started recording.
before we started recording about
keep it
if U2 and Coldplay were similar bands. I am on team no, and if you agree with me, tell me in the comments.
You literally discovered through the process that they are the same band.
They are not the same band.
Flip 'em and read. What do we got?
All right.
I think I put B. I think it has to be BTS. They are so corporate. They have so many Samsung and LG collaborations. It has to be BTS.
David, what
And
did
you
you
both
say?
put,
I also put B.
yeah, so that's awesome
It's Coldplay, isn't it?
because
It's Coldplay.
that one of our coworkers suggested that as an answer to this question. And I was like, I think that'd be really sweet. And then they were like, no, actually, we shouldn't use that. I think it's going to be way too obvious and like no one will guess that. And I was like,
BTS?
I don't know.
I
The
had
correct
same
answer
reason. Coldplay.
is
D. Oh.
C.
Which is what band?
ABBA. During the 1981 San Marino Grand Prix, Carl Edvard Tommy Slim Borgud was like, if I just put the most famous thing Sweden has ever produced on my car, maybe someone will try to get a sponsorship next time. Anyway, yeah, answer was ABBA, San Marino Grand Prix, 1981.
Nice.
If Andrew was here, he probably would have known that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because he
All
was
right.
F1 and ABBA.
Next question.
But now I get to answer this question.
Yeah. Finish the sentence. Fill in the blank, however you want to look at it. Google Keep is available on Google Play for devices running blank and above. So what version of Android was Google Keep announced with, basically?
Can we give number or dessert?
Yeah, I'll take either one.
Oh, see, that's it. It wasn't backwards compatible.
Blank and above.
This is the announcement post, so I don't think it was backwards
What
compatible.
year? Can you tell us what year Google Keep came out?
Fine. 2013.
That
2013?
gives me nothing.
2013.
Shoot. Oh, I'm wrong. Oh, no.
All right, flip them and read. What do we got?
But Android 4, which is not true.
What did you put, Marquez?
I put Android 4.2.
4.2. Ellis?
Oh, right. Sorry, I've never done this before. I put Android 6.
Android 6. The answer was Android
7.
4. So David gets the point.
Let's go.
That's crazy. I wrote 4, and then when you said 2013, I added 0.2.
Ah.
And now I'm wrong.
Ellis screwed you up.
Only the real keepers in the building know what's going on.
Is that
right.
a honeycomb
That's right.
joke?
It's a David joke. I don't know.
The beekeepers.
The beekeepers.
Android honeycomb.
That was honeycomb?
No.
That was 4.0 ice cream
Ice cream sandwich.
Honeycomb was
Dang.
5.
Well,
Yeah.
Wow.
I think.
All right, Marquez, take us out.
no, it'd be 3 dot.
No, honeycomb
H
was...
had to come before I.
Or not.
Thanks for joining us on
yeah.
this episode of the Waveform podcast. I am your temporary host, Ellis Rovin, filling in for Andrew Manganelli, who will be back in our next episode. And I am joined by regular hosts, David Amell, Marquez Brownlee. This has been great, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Waveform is produced by Adam Molina.
Oh, no, wait. I wanted Marquez to do that part now.
Wait for it produced
Let's
by
see if he
Adam.
can
Do I just
remember.
say Adam Molina?
I don't know. Figure it
I am
out.
produced by Adam, yeah.
Waveform is produced by Adam Molina. We're part of the Vox Media Podcast Network, and our intro-outro music is by Vane Still.
You forgot Ellis.
Well,
Well,
'cause-
but
It's produced by you this week, buddy.
yeah, good luck.
Ellis does the mixing.
I'm out.
Good luck, Adam.
Bingo.
Let's go.
ChatGPT
Nice.
says Coldplay is essentially a spiritual successor to YouTube.
Bars.
Do I?
That was word for word.
Who said that?
This is
ChatGPT.
4.0. This is the latest ChatGPT model.
Chatford.
I f***ing hate this podcast.
Wow.